What's up, y'all? It's TJ with Brass and Lid. Um, Missed a lot of opportunities to film had a hurricane going on while I was working on the adjustable shooting stick, and with the hurricane, and then I got called into work yesterday, so was on the clock for a long time. So today, pretty wore out, but I got a chance to finish it up. This is an old Mossberg 22. It's completely inert. There's not even an action in there, so we are handling a safe firearm. Here is the finished product on our shooting stick. I didn't have enough room on my lathe bed, so what I did was I ran it down, tapered it, and then I took this extension. I thought about doing it temporary, where you could take the peg in and out, but then I decided I would just, being that this was already adjustable, I made a tenon on this and a mortise on this, on the main shaft or staff end, and I just put a little bead and cove in there, nothing fancy. I'm not real great with it, but got the job done. And then I glued this mortise and tenon together, put his initials on there with a Dremel and filled it in with a Sharpie. And just to kind of finish it off, I didn't want this to get too entirely complicated. I put where I turned this lock on the spindle between centers on the lathe, it had a hole on both ends, and I didn't necessarily want to put a knob in it on each end, so I just took a 22 rimfire and super glued it in there, countersunk it, and then on the top I have a 270 Winchester spent case that I sunk down in there, and then of course we got the leather. And I finished this is all red oak, and then this wedge lock is cherry. I just did one heavy coat, or one healthy coat of boiled linseed oil, and slicked out really good. I know better now what I would do in the future if and when I build another one. This was one idea that I had. I had several different ideas for ways I would do this. Now, if I was going to be using this as, using a shooting sticks as in going on like a guided hunt or hunting on foot, this design would be different. I like the two small graphite rods that they use, and you can set them out wider and they telescope in and out, and those are pretty nice. But for this, it's kind of cool. You could actually leave it propped up in your deer blind or whatever, and you can adjust it up and down, and it's really not that bad to carry, with your kit to set your blind up for the year, and just leave it in there. But this is kind of, most people shoot out of a office chair in their deer blind, and this is just kind of what it would look like. It's really comfortable, and like I say, this goes up and down. You can take and unlock the wedge and slide it down. And also, I took a hand plane and I flattened a small area down to about right here, to give that flat locking surface on the wedge something to grab a hold of, so you can quickly drop it down and raise it up or do whatever you want to do. So really, it's just really simple. And I had an idea to have like maybe another fork, instead of plowing this out. I had an idea of doing something, kind of like this coming off the side, but this was way more simple of a design, and a lot more minimalistic in that there's not a whole lot of stuff hanging off of this. So I thought it was pretty cool. It was a fun project. Like I said, the red oak is really hard stuff, really hard wood, and so you got to make sure that your tools are extremely sharp, especially turning on the lathe. But this is it. Nothing fancy. It's just like a big old school woodworking marking gauge. You kind of get it where you in the middle. Lock it in. You gotta make sure that you lock it in really tight. And I did something else. I did was because I keep forgetting. So the end that only has that looks like this, I made it look different than this and this. So if you push this, it opens it, and then if you push this in, it locks. So it's not 100% fail proof. You give it a good whack with something before you get to your stand, or once you get set up, pull it in there really tight, and then you're good to go. And alternately, you have your hand you're gonna have your hand up underneath here. So I mean, if you turn it, it will come unlocked. So that was kind of one of the flaws that I really wasn't enthused about. But if you take a piece of wood or a mallet, take the piece of mallet, and you really lock it on there, then it's really not going anywhere. But I guess you don't want to be beating on this thing in the wood, so you want to know exactly what your chair height is going to be, and get it set up before opening morning, so you're not beating on this thing, locking it in. This is something that ideally you're going to have it set up, the height set, your chair set up where you want it, and not be knocking around on this thing, like I said, opening morning. Because once it's locked in, it's in there. But it does take a little bit. Whenever you just use hand pressure, it doesn't lock it in as good as it does whenever you give it a couple of taps on there, and that thing is good to go. And I mean, you can take it. I was unlocking it and locking it, beating it on my bench, or anything wooden or soft. So this is it. This is Brass and Lead's woodworking version of a shooting stick. So pretty cool. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, just drop them in the comment box. Like, subscribe, tell me what y'all think, and hopefully this series of videos that I've taken for this particular thing will splice together decently. So we'll see how it goes. Support the Second Amendment. Go out, vote, do what's right. Don't be a dick to anybody. Don't be a dick to guns. Y'all have a good one.